there's a great confusion because number one, he's brought us backwards. I mean, you look at the type of football that Italy is trying to do. This is not the football. This is not what we were doing. Do you remember? I know everybody, we've been terrible for a while. We've had really bad times. We went from 2019 to 2021 with 37 games unbeaten. To this day, there's no national team that ever went 37 games unbeaten. Even Argentina at the World Cup, they almost had that record, and then they lost to Saudi Arabia. They went on to win the World Cup. We were building something. We had a style. We had an identity. Yeah. Gattuso, for me, I agree. Gattuso's brought us back. And Mike had a strong point on the live stream as well that I want him to say, and I'll tee you up by this. I was listening to what Cassano and Adani were saying, and they disagree with a lot of this. Ironically, they agree with Antonio. And Cassano said that there's no better coach for the understanding for the moment than Gattuso to get us to the World Cup at this point. I can't believe I'm even asking you this question, Mike, but we are at the point where there's question marks if you would keep Gattuso, which sounds absurd because he's only been in charge in 6 games. But I want to pose the question to everybody.
Yeah, I think this is a serious matter. I think a lot of people are saying, whatever, it's early. But if you go out and say and show that kind of mentality, and I think Peter was right, player for player, you can say Norway maybe has 3, maybe 4 players better than Italy, but the rest, quality-wise, Italy have better players. But that's besides the point. The point is that Norway, they won and they topped the group and they won every game is because they have the mentality. And that's something Italy don't have. They can have all 11 players much better. But if you don't have the mentality, you're never going to win. You're never going to go far. And Gattuso is instilling this that, it's a losing mentality, the stuff he's saying. Deflecting it with all the stuff we said, the qualification, it's easier.
We're not a team that scores a lot of goals.
You can't say that stuff. What's that? What synergy does that bring to the locker room? What is that?
What would you have said, Mike?
Not that. You gotta show that you're not scared. What Gattuso said, he not only sounds like a loser, he sounds like he's scared and he's looking for excuses. And for me, I would have him gone even after that game, just after that press conference, because you can't have that mentality. He's gonna go in the playoffs the same way. Go in the mentality and hope for the best.
He's trying to take the heat for the team.
It's not, Anto, there's a way to do it, and that's not the way. And for me, I seen enough, and I always loved Gattuso as a player. Even when he was a coach at Milan, I loved how he was. But he's a completely different person. I don't know what got it into him, whether it's a Fiji or I don't know, something in his personal life, but he's a shell of himself. And if you keep doing that Azzurri, I really don't know what's going to happen in the playoffs.
Is there anyone that agrees with Mike that you would let Gattuso go?
No.
I mean, it's very hard. It's very hard because you have limited options. I have to give credit to Gattuso because that was in one set. When he got this job, many refused this
Ranieri.
job. Okay? Gattuso said, I'm going to take this job. There's a responsibility here. I think in his approach, maybe there's different reasonings, but he's definitely been very delicate with what he says in the media, and I'm sure in the locker room as well, because he noticed there's a fragility to this team. It's a very fragile team. Once there's one issue, everything crumbles. And so I think he notices that. So and it shows, I think, a certain level of maturity to Gattuso, even though as a fan or what we see in Gattuso, it's like we want to see him aggressive and foaming at the mouth and going after his players. But I think, we're not playing great football. But it's a situation where I don't know what more a coach can really do. The only thing he can really do is be able to say, hey, everyone's got to get together as a band of brothers, and we got to push through this. It's just a reality.
But when you get a new coach, Pete, don't you usually get an immediate impact overall?
National team is different than a regular team.
But
National
you
team
want
is
to see
different.
more of that is what I'm just trying to say.
Mike.
The thing is, who do you have?
Mike.
Who's the options?
Peter,
that's a good
problem. Listen to me, Mike. Please.
You don't need a big name.
Mike.
You don't.
No,
Mike,
I know you don't.
You need a winner's mentality.
Mike,
but it's hard.
Gattuso is not the only one on the bench or directing the
100%. But you got to do the short-term thing to get the hurdle to the World Cup.
There is Buffon.
I get it.
There are another 2-3 players. You're telling me that none of them is advising him?
But he's in charge.
So that means he's got limitation over there. I really clearly, the only thing that I've really questioned about Gattuso, not using Ricci, not using the players that he has available for himself and trying to make things more solid over there, especially on the midfield. I do not see it. Did you have anybody ready, by the way? Ancelotti's in Brazil.
Everyone's talking about big names. Everyone's talking about big names. I don't think you need.
No, we just asked for you for a name. If you think you would let go of Gattuso, and you still didn't get to say if you do,
I would bring someone in that has fresh ideas, someone like a Palladino, someone like a Derby kind of thing. It's fine.
They have jobs.
But at least
they have jobs.
But I'm saying someone like
that.
that.
Okay, like who? Who's available realistically? Because you did bring up. I mean, yeah. Let me give it to you first. Would you continue with Gattuso for these 2 games?
Gaetano,
Let him say what he wants to say.
Ando, come on.
I think I'm disappointed at Gattuso because, I thought they call him Rinchio. They call him, the players when he played for AC Milan were afraid not with the coach in the locker room. They were afraid of Gattuso, what he was going to do to the players. Now, all of a sudden, the way he talks, I feel like he's a little bear now. The way he talks, show me.
He's neutered now.
Yeah, show me what you did. The cazzimma. That
right.
That you show as a player, show it in the sideline, show it in the locker room. Put this guy's. I feel like he's apologizing and he's finding excuses. The way this is done, that's not your job. The way the format is, that's somebody else's job. At this point, I don't think you can find somebody, even though you have until March to get this team back. But there's nobody out there that is available that I would say, okay, let's get rid of him.
But the question again, is that advisable for you to change the coach now?
Anto,
2 games? Come on, man.
Okay. I wouldn't. I never wanted Gattuso to be the coach. I think that there was nothing in his coaching career that qualified him to get the job of the Italian national team. I thought best case scenario, he would transmit. I totally agree with everything that you guys are saying. I thought that would have been the case. I just think that it's too hard to find an option there. Ranieri would have been the ideal guy. He rejected us. If Antonio Conte was available, I would give him my whole life just to have him take us through, because I'll tell you one thing, you will never see 2 different teams from one half to another with them. They would fight to hell and back. So it's not a good situation, but I think we have to stick with what we have at this point, just because, again, turnover, not having another option isn't a good thing. I want to touch last thing with Gattuso, is what you just said. And this is the thing that I think I'm most disappointed in Gattuso, for the words that everybody has said already, but to add on top of it, what he said about the qualification process. Because you sound like a loser. Number one, it's not your job. Number one, the head coach of the Italian national team should never go, after we just barely beat Moldova, after we scored a goal in the 88th minute against Moldova, should never come out after and start blaming the qualification process. That's number one. That's Gravina, that's Federation. The president comes down, he speaks. Okay, you embarrassed us to the rest of the world because you're talking about how others qualify. Guys, we've gone out to Sweden and North Macedonia. If he wanted to argue, and again, this should not be him, if you want to argue the European qualification process is flawed, okay, fine. Right? Not now. Not before a game that we could still qualify. And focus on the European qualification process. That Sweden has not won 1 game in their qualification, but because they won Nations League, they're going to go automatically to the playoffs. How does that make sense? You don't need to look around the world. You need to look at Europe itself. Why is 1 team out of the top 12 qualifying? How is Moldova having a chance when they had 1 point in the group to still go through? We have a flaw. The European qualification process has a flaw. That's why they're going to change it. So I'm very disappointed in the way that he handled it. That was not his job. I'm very disappointed in the comments that have come out afterwards, because I agree with what you said and what Mike said, that it makes us seem like losers. And all of a sudden, we are bad. We have to take ownership of how poor we've been. It's nobody else's fault that we're not able to beat the teams that were in front of us. It's nobody else's fault that Rino took the job, and the first thing he said is, we are not a nation that scores a lot of goals. It's the first thing he said, because they asked him, how can we make up the goal difference? Why can't we score 10 goals against Moldova? Why can't we score 10 goals against Estonia? Why do we have to concede 4 goals to Israel? Guys, do you remember that game? Do you remember the game? It was the last second to win. So when you take all of this into account, it's just so frustrating. It's not Gattuso's fault. He was thrown into a situation. If we really want to look at it, Spalletti, that first game against Norway ruined everything. And the federation probably could have let him go. But for me, Gattuso just disappointed in the comments.